Hello and welcome to IndiTalk. This is a show on which we discuss controversial subjects of national importance. And today's subject is one of the greatest minds that India ever produced, a man by the name of Bhimrao Ambedkar, who gave us our constitution and set the foundation for the liberties that guide the working of our constitution, the legal system, and the rule of law, which has kept us free and independent. As you watch this show, India is celebrating his birthday called Ambedkar Jayanti, and Ambedkar is the flavor of the day, so to speak. Every single political party is claiming his legacy, saying that he stands for what they believe in, including the BJP and the Congress and, of course, the BSP, which is a Dalit party, and of course Ambedkar was himself a Dalit. But who did he belong to? What was his real message? Have people really read what the great Ambedkar, the person who virtually single-handedly drafted this great constitution, a learned scholar, PhD from Columbia University, Inns of Court, the London School of Economics, I mean, you name it, he had it. He was a great Renaissance man and one of India's greatest patriots and one of India's grandest sons. What would he have thought of today's India? Because as we celebrate his birthday, would he have actually participated in this celebration? Because today, along with the news about Ambedkar and people trying to claim his legacy before the next election because of the Dalit vote bank, which he is supposed to represent, or he symbolizes, there are also very, very disturbing pieces of news coming out across the country. Two of the most devastating, heart-rending pieces of news, which really shows, or which really begs the question that does this nation have a moral compass? Did the Constitution give it a moral compass? Does it matter anymore? Are the rape and murder of a young Muslim, 8-year-old Muslim girl in Kathua, apparently to make a political point to the minority community by a majoritarian bunch of hoodlums, and the murder of the father of a woman in Unnao, a young lady in Unnao, whose father had gone to complain about her being raped by an MLA in the UP government, and instead of registering his complaint, he was brutally tortured, beaten up at the police station, and he died. Now, what would Ambedkar have thought of this? That here is a majoritarian community, or majoritarianism, asserting its right to impunity. What has happened to his constitution? Did the republic that he and our founding fathers gifted us, does this have any meaning today at all? Well, I'm constrained to think that Ambedkar would have said that the warning that he gave on November 25th, 1949, his last speech before the Constituent Assembly, was predictive of his darkest fears for the future of India, because he said that India, the conditions for India becoming a nation had been fulfilled by the driving out of the British and drafting of the Constitution. But India could only become a nation on the basis of liberty, equality and fraternity, and which meant basically a deep caring for the rights of the oppressed, which included women, children, minorities, and the scheduled castes and tribes, all of whom had suffered brutally because of past practices. There's a careful weave that knits together Ambedkar's thoughts. That he basically said we will fail as a republic and will never become a true nation unless we stamp out these evils. At one point, and I will read directly from his speech and his works, the people who espouse the Hindutva philosophy and claim him as their own, what did Ambedkar say about Hindutva? Now I'll quote him directly. He says, if the Hindu Raj does become a fact, it will no doubt be the greatest calamity for this country. No matter what the Hindus say, Hinduism is a menace to liberty, equality and fraternity. On that account, it is incompatible with democracy. This is Ambedkar speaking, who, by the way, at the end of his life, towards the end of his life, actually gave up his religion, Hinduism, and converted into a Buddhist, and was severely criticized by Veer Savarkar for this, because Savarkar, as we know, was one of the founding ideologues of the RSS Hindutva philosophy. Hindu Raj, said Ambedkar, must be prevented at any cost. But is Pakistan the true remedy against it? Or are Muslim parties? No. He said not partition or Muslim parties or the Muslim League or these are not answers. He says the true answer to this is a mixed party of Hindus and Muslims in the only effective way of burying the ghost of Hindu Raj. Now, remember something, he was not against the philosophy, the Vedic philosophy of Hinduism or against Hinduism as a religion. What he talked about were the horrors perpetrated in the name of religion by the upper castes, which held minorities and deprived people as virtual slaves, non-citizens and outcasts, so to speak. He also warned, and again, I think our leaders who are celebrating his birthday ought to listen to this very carefully. He also warned that bhakti in religion may be a road to salvation of the soul. But in politics, bhakti or hero worship is a sure road to degradation and eventual dictatorship. These are his words. The third thing we must do, Ambedkar said, and this was at that speech on November 25, 1949, is not be content with mere political democracy. We must make our political democracy a social democracy as well. Political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy. And what does social democracy mean? It means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality and fraternity as the principles of life. These principles form a union, a trinity, in the sense that to divorce one from the other is to defeat the very purpose of democracy. Liberty cannot be divorced from equality, equality cannot be divorced from liberty, nor can liberty and equality be divorced from fraternity. And he also warned us that the sooner we realize that we are not as yet a nation in the social and psychological sense of the word, then it's all the better for us. For then only shall we realize the necessity of becoming a nation and seriously think of ways and means of realizing that goal. The realization of this goal is going to be very difficult. Now remember, Ambedkar is issuing a dark foreboding here. It is a dark prediction for the future of India. He says the realization is going to be a difficult problem, far more difficult than it has been for the United States, which has no caste problem. In India, there are many castes. The castes, now he says, Ambedkar says, are anti-national. In the first place, because they bring about separation in social life. They're anti-national because they generate jealousy, antipathy between caste and religion. We must overcome all these difficulties if we wish to become a nation in reality. Now, what did he say about the downtrodden castes or classes or the oppressed or women and minorities? They're tired of being governed. They're impatient to govern themselves. This urge for self-realization in the downtrodden classes must not be allowed to devolve into a class struggle or war. It would lead to a division of the house that would indeed be a day of disaster. For, as has been said by Abraham Lincoln, a house divided against itself cannot stand very long. Therefore, the sooner room is made for the realization of their aspiration, the better for the few, the better for the country, the better for the maintenance of its independence, and the better for the continuance of its democratic structure. And this can only be done through the establishment of equality and fraternity in all spheres of life. If hereafter, by independence, remember, he warned that we have now lost the excuse of blaming the British for anything going wrong. Let us not forget that this independence has thrown upon us great responsibilities, he said. Times are fast changing and there is great danger of things going wrong. Again, Ambedkar speaking. He says that if we wish to preserve the Constitution, which we have sought to enshrine in the principle of government of the people, for the people and by the people, let us resolve not to be tardy in the recognition of evils that lie across our path, which induce people to prefer government for the people to government by the people, nor to be weak in our initiative to remove them. This is the only way to serve the country, and I know no better. Ambedkar speaking. Wise words. But as I look at today's India, and a lot of us look at it the same way, we are wary. Where are we headed? The nation, it seems, is being taken over by demagogues, bullies, and if you look at the instance, the impunity which some people in power are approaching the rapes of little girls, whether in Kathua or a young woman in UP, in Unnao. It seems as a deviant species that has overtaken our political system. It is not what Ambedkar and Patel and Maulana Azad and Rajendra Prasad and Nehru and Kamath, our founding fathers, some of them gifted to us. The Republic seems to be going into the hands of pathological criminals, criminal Raj, of well, how can you describe people who would do a premeditated murder of an innocent girl to keep and to as a warning to another community in our country, as a warning to another community to keep out of their neighborhoods, and then politically oppose the police investigation into that heinous crime backed by ministers, and unfortunately when the police go and file a report, also backed by guess who? By lawyers, the Bar Association of that state. I think Ambedkar would have wept. This is not the Constitution he gave us, and this is the warning he gave us on November 25th, 1949, that we may be heading towards a path of the destruction of our republic and the goals of our democracy if we do not act to preserve it. And that, I think, is the duty of every Indian today, to take back from the deviants, to snatch back from the deviants and the people who are opposed to the democratic way of life, our Constitution and our freedoms and the liberties preached to us and bequeathed to us by our founding fathers. I think that is what Ambedkar would have wanted. That's all for today in IndiTalk. I'm Inderjit Badhwar. We'll be back again with another subject of national importance. Until then, catch us.